Welcome back to Father and Son Fix. In this episode, we're going to show you how to flush the power steering fluid and replace the power steering fluid reservoir on your Mercedes. Now, this applies to the W211, but should generally apply to any of the models that have the M112 or the M113 engine, including E320, E500, E55, and other models in the range, such as the S500 and even the SL55. The first step is to remove the air intake hose on the left side of the vehicle, which is your right side when you're facing the front of the vehicle. You're also going to want to get the front of the car jacked up on jack stands. It's going to make it a lot easier to turn the wheel back and forth for the later steps. The next step is to drain the reservoir. And you're going to want to put a bunch of rags around the reservoir for this process and for the later steps. We like to use this turkey baster, and you can get these at like a dollar store for not much more than $1 these days. It's really easy to just suck out the fluid, and then you can put it into a nearby container. Here we're using our Pyrex, our garage Pyrex that we like to use. That allows us to see how much fluid we're removing when we take it out of either here with the power steering reservoir or with the brake fluid reservoir. It's a handy tool to have. So once you drain the entire reservoir, you'll see about the amount that you can expect to get out here. And it's not really that much. I mean, you're looking at maybe 200 milliliters. Next step is to disconnect the return hose. There's a Phillips head screw on a clamp. You're going to want to loosen that clamp all the way, make sure it's totally loose, just like that. And then carefully pull that hose off of the reservoir. This is where you're going to want to have plenty of rags down there just to catch any of the little bit of fluid that's going to come out of there. After you've disconnected the return hose and have it situated in a container, you'll want to take the plug that comes with the new reservoir and use that to plug the old reservoir so that you can flush through the new fluid without it spilling through the return area there. Alright, the next step is to add new fluid, and you want to fill the reservoir all the way up to get ready to do the flush. Once the reservoir is filled with fluid again, now you're ready to start the flushing process. And you'll put the key in to unlock the steering wheel, but don't start the car. Just unlock the wheel so that you can move it left to right. And for this step, it helps to have the car jacked up off the ground. It makes it a lot easier to turn those wheels back and forth left and right. Get those front two wheels up on jack stands. So here we are turning the wheel left and right, and you can see the fluid start to come out. As the fluid's coming out, you want to be refilling the reservoir with clean fluid throughout the process. This way you're not introducing any air bubbles as you add new fluid, flushing out the old fluid with the new fluid that you pour into the system. Oh boy, would you take a look at that fluid. My goodness, it's a good thing we're flushing this. As you keep adding fluid, you want to pay attention that it doesn't overflow, that you're filling the right amount in. It helps to have a second person there to add the fluid while you're turning the wheel back and forth. And you're going to keep adding the fluid and keep turning the wheel back and forth, left and right, adding fluid until finally you should see that the fluid starts to come out nice and clean, just like that. That's what we're looking for. That shows us that we've got all new fluid in the system. Now we chose to replace the reservoir after filling it with new fluid because we didn't want any of the old dirty fluid getting in the reservoir. Of course, with the return line disconnected, that shouldn't happen, so you could consider replacing the reservoir first. However, this is the process that we took. This way, our new reservoir would only be touching brand new fluid. Now, before you remove the reservoir, we're going to drain out the new fluid at the top. And this is another reason why you may consider replacing the reservoir first. If you want to do that, it will save you a little bit of fluid. To remove the reservoir, you're going to need to unscrew this E8 Torx bolt. So we're going to follow the same procedure as before with draining the fluid out of the reservoir. And you can see there in the turkey baster how that's clean fluid coming out. Now there's a clip at the back of the reservoir that secures it to the pump. And you're going to want to use a flathead screwdriver. If you look, you can see the clip there at the bottom of the reservoir below the valve cover. There's the clip right where it connects to the pump. You're going to want to use the flathead screwdriver and then a pair of needle nose pliers to get that clip out of there. And that's what that clip looks like. And hold on to it. You're going to need that for the new reservoir. Okay, now that that clip's out of the way, you can simply disconnect the old reservoir and try and tilt it forward to prevent any of that fluid from leaking out. Again, you want to have a bunch of rags over in that area for any fluid that might come out of the pump too. Alright, let's install the new reservoir. Before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of cleanup here. We're just using some brake clean to clean up around here for any of the fluid that may have spilled onto the belt or the pulley in particular, and just make sure it's nice and clean before we put that new reservoir in. When you're installing the new reservoir, you want to make sure that the O-ring is installed. We installed ours by putting it into the reservoir here. That's how it was when we removed the old reservoir. Some people put that O-ring on the pump. We decided to do it this way to make sure that it was nice and flat. Once the O-ring's in place, one thing we may have done in hindsight is put a little power steering fluid there to make it easier to ease it on to the power steering pump. So here we are, and you're going to slide that in. There's a little groove there that the pump will slide into, and you're going to want to slide that in, wiggle it back and forth with pressure, not too much, to get it to seat correctly, and then use that E8 bolt to get it the rest of the way. Of course, we have to reinstall the clip. And a great tip for that is to use a socket just to get the leverage that you need there to push that clip into place. Okay, now it's time to reconnect the return hose. And one thing we recommend here is to make sure that that clamp is oriented where the Phillips head is easy to access for yourself the next time. So you just want to make sure it's pointed towards the top so that you don't have to go digging around for it. See, just like that, you want it pointed at the top, and pay attention as you're going so that the clamp doesn't get pushed down as you're tightening it. Alright, once that's screwed on tight, we're going to add a little bit more fluid back into the reservoir to make sure that it's full. Once you add the fluid back into the reservoir, the next step is going to be bleeding the air out of the system. And this time, you're going to be turning the wheels back and forth up to 30 times according to the Mercedes instructions. And we really recommend it. We still saw air bubbles even after turning about 10 times back and forth. So we definitely recommend it. And this is going to bleed the air out of the system. So this is where you're going to be turning the wheel back and forth. Again, it's good to have the wheels, it's good to have the vehicle up on jack stands, and there you can see the tiny air bubbles. That's in our early turns back and forth. You can see the tiny little air bubbles there, and you want to keep going, turning the wheel back and forth left and right until all those air bubbles are gone. Now, according to the Mercedes instructions, the next step, and pay attention, be close by with some fluid if you need it, is to start the engine with the cap off and let it idle for 1 minute. And you can see that kicks the pump on, and you're going to get some more air bubbles that are going to show up. Check and adjust the fluid as needed until it matches the dipstick and reads correctly at the cold level. There's 2 different levels on the dipstick. Make sure it reads correctly at the cold level. One other tip we recommend is going for a brief drive of a few miles and then checking the fluid again. Of course, if you have too much fluid, you can use the turkey baster to take a little bit out. And we recommend taking that test drive, checking again after that. That's going to bleed any more air out of the system. And once you're done, that's it. Clean up a little bit of brake clean to clean up some more of those areas. We use the brake clean because we know it's not going to harm any of the plastic or the rubber components when we're cleaning up. We really hope this helped. Let us know which model you have and how the flush went for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We hope you have a great day.